Now what is happening here is, so I have changed the company name and the name of this. So what he's doing is, this is the sheet which is created everywhere, the same sheet, okay guys, but for the different employees. Now this is employee, let's say XYZ, and this is a different employee which is XYZ1 or maybe XYZ2. So every sheet has attendance record for its employee, right, and when he's coming in and out time, right. Now some of the cells he has highlighted in the red. Now I do not know on what conditions actually it is highlighted. Maybe I think it's because of the in time or the out time issue, but that's fine. I mean, the condition formatting is the condition formatting is already there, right. So what he wants to do is, he wants to pick up all these red ones. So these red ones, basically he's saying that somebody is not actually, you know, coming in and out, and I think, or maybe on the comment section we can say that if it is a red, then let's pick it up, right. Now there is a one, I think I find here there is one data integrity issue, which is actually I mean, there is a non-uniformity in the data. I see some rows are completely red, and in some sheets, you know, you can see that, like for example, this is pretty good, but in the sheet 2 we have just, you know, one cell highlighted here, right. So maybe that's I don't know why this is all, you know, why this is happening, why you have the one cell highlighted and why you have the entire row highlighted. Ideally either it should be a complete row, you know, getting highlighted in red, or it's a single cell. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start this project from the scratch, and the first thing which we are going to do is, it would be better for us if we can, you know, go and create the sheets by the associate names, right. It's not mandatory, but still, if you can do that, I think it will be very easy for you to find out the name of the associates. So that's what we're gonna do right in this video. So just for the you know, understanding perspective, guys, I'm just going to create 4 sheets for you, and this is the main sheet where we will have all the data coming, you know, from these sheets, right. So if I look at the data, so he has a name. So let's say I'm gonna write here name, and then there are other things as well, like department and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. So I just go and, you know, you use these headers. So let's say I just say paste value. Let me just put these paste values here. So this is the day, date in, date time, and I'm just going to copy this in all the sheets. So there we go. So I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to paste it here as well. Alright, so we have the name here. So let's say the name of this person is Ajay, and then the name of the person here is maybe, let's say, Abdul, and the name of the person here is, let's say, if I just go and write here, Matt. Okay, now so we have the days and the date. So I'm going to just use some data from here. So let's just let me just, for example, use this data. I just go and copy this data, and I'm going to paste the value here. There we go. I paste the value, and then I'm going to paste the format as well. So let's go and the format. There we go. Right, so I got the data here. So this entire row is red, and so I will focus only one comment, I mean on any of this, basically a header, maybe this particular cell. So I just remove the formatting from here. You can target whatever you want, right, that's fine, but I'm just going to use this one. And now in the another sheet, I'm going to use the same data. I go and copy it. So let's say this is my data, and I'm going to paste it for the mat as well, but this time let's say I'm going to make maybe something else red. Maybe I can go and make this red, which I want to pick up finally, right. So let's say we have here 2. So this is absent, and yeah, so that's fine, right. So I'm not going to touch the another you know, the data. Let's keep it simple, and because I want to give you the idea how you can do the things, right. So this is the one, this is the second, and this is the third. So in the third sheet also, maybe I can go and maybe I can use this as a red color. Okay, so this is what actually, guys, I want to pick up. So let's just double click here. Okay, so now what we want to do is, now first of all, as I said, that please better you create the sheet names. Now if you have already created your sheet which doesn't have name, then rather than doing it manually, because I see that you have a lot of sheets here, so I know that you will not like the method to create the sheets, you know, to put the name of the associates in the sheets directly manually, you know. So you can actually go ahead and run the loop. Okay, so for that what we can do is, we can run the loop here. You can, now you know that your associate names are in the cell A1, so just go and insert the module here. Okay, so we're going to write give sheet names. So the first thing which I want to do is, now I can go in one sheet one by one. I can write sheet 2 dot select, sheet 3 dot select, and sheet 4 dot select, but they can be 50 sheets, as my subscriber has got almost, I think, more than 20 sheets, I think, here, you know, if you scroll it down. Wow, in fact more than 20. There are a lot of sheets, guys, there are a lot of sheets, right? Oh wow. He is using lot of data here. Okay, so we have got almost, I think, 82 83 sheets. Perfect, not a problem at all, right? So I'm just, but you know, just to give you the understanding, I'm using only you know, 3 sheets. So this code will work on all the sheets. Okay, maybe you can go and create some more sheets if you just want to go. Maybe let's say you can create a couple of more sheets. So I just create the copy of it, and then we can go and further create some more sheets. Let's say I go and create one more sheet. That's it for now. The programming doesn't take much time, so it doesn't matter whether you have 50 sheets or 5 sheets. So this is going to be my, let's say, sheet 4 to this fine. This is fine, I'm not going to change that, but I'm definitely going to change this. So maybe let's say this is going to be Jarvis, and this is maybe something else. So I just write here, let's say, a name called Anu. Okay, now I'm going to, of course, make sure that this should be highlighted. So I'm just going to use this as red and this as red. Alright, this is how we're going to do. Now the first thing first, let's give the sheets according to their associate names. Let's give that name to the sheet. So we're going to define here for each worksheet in a worksheets loop. So this is how you write for dim WS as worksheet, for each WS in worksheets, and then you're going to one by one select the one, you know, the sheet. So I'm going to select the sheet, and then once you select the sheet, what you will do, you will use that sheet name, the active sheet name command, because once you select the sheet, that sheet becomes the active sheet, right? So this is what we are going to do. So the range A1, because you know that in the A1 you have a name of that associate. Okay, so first thing you would do this. So I'm going to select that, and sorry, not the select but the value. Okay, now if you don't know anything about this loop, still I like to give you the idea. So basically, guys, this is a collection loop. This is a pre-built loop, right? These are the loops which the VBA had given to us. Now where we can use it? Well, you are going to use it whenever you want to loop through all the sheet in one go. Now I am not dependent upon the sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4 names. It can be anything, it doesn't matter. In the future, if you add 50 sheets, this loop is going to run, because this says for each worksheet in worksheets, which, you know, even if you, as in English, if you like to, you know, try to understand this syntax, it says that one by one, you know, every sheet will be looped through. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Now when you're going to run this, obviously it will start from the main sheet, and the main sheet is something where we don't want to work. So you can write here that if the worksheet name is not equals to main, okay, then only run this code. Otherwise, what you want to do is, you don't want to run this code, so else do nothing. Let me just write here do nothing in the comments. You can avoid it, but just from the understanding perspective, I'm just going to write it like this, right? If you're hearing some noise in the background, guys, my apologies, sincere apologies. I know that there might be some voice, you know, noise would be coming from the background, so please bear with me. Okay, so now this is the loop done, and when you're going to run it, you know that the first name obviously would be the main sheet. So you see that it goes in the else mode, and then end if. What is the next name? Next name is the sheet 2. So obviously it is not equals to main, so we are going to enter in the then part. Okay, and in the then part, it's going to select that sheet. Look at this, guys. Now the active sheet, obviously the sheet which is selected, that becomes the active sheet. In the active sheet, what value you're going to put it? Well, the value I'm going to put it is actually the B1, sorry, not the A1, right? Because in the B1 I have that name. So when you run this, guys, look at this, the sheet actually is changed to Ajay, and then you're going to run this again. The next sheet, what is the next sheet? Well, sheet 3. You see that how beautifully this loop is actually looping through all the sheets one by one, right? Automatically it is going there. That's why we use this loop, and that's why this is such a powerful loop, because it can work on 100 sheets, 200 sheets, like in, you know, seconds, right? So what is the next sheet name? The next sheet name is sheet 3. That's not equals to main, I know that, right? So it's going to go in the then parameter. Let me select that sheet, whatever the sheet the loop is, you know, capturing at that point in time. So this time it captured sheet 3, and you know, in the B1 we have a name which is Abdul. So you see that this is how, guys, the code keeps on running, and you will have all the sheet. First of all, this is the first thing you I think should do, because keeping the sheet names by, you know, by their default naming convention is not a good idea. Always maintain your data in perfect way, especially when you guys are working in HR, or in workforce management, or in MIS, you know, or maybe in finance, right? So you have to keep your data up to date, a very nicely, built and properly structured. So now the loop is finished because I have covered all the loops, right? I have covered all the sheets. Now after this we will start the programming. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to write all the people name here, okay, who are actually defaulters. So maybe I shouldn't use this word, but subscriber used it, so I'm just telling them, I mean, people who are actually showing in the red, what you would like to do, right? So now guys, what first of all we want to do is we want to pick up the the red items. The red items we want to pick it up, and then you can go and actually compile this data. So there are n number of ways of doing it. Maybe you can record a macro which can put the filter here. You put the filter here, like I have put the filter, and go in the comment section and you can filter it by the color called red, and you know that the color will be filtered, and then you can just go ahead and copy this data, and then you can put that data over here, right? And then you can go to the next sheet, and you can again put the filter there and again do the same step. That is the first option. What is the next option? The next option is that you go and put here a VBA code that if this cell color is actually red, then we're going to make it as 1 and then 0 and then 1 and 0, sort of that. That is also the another possibility. If you're wondering how you're going to check the cell color, well, you can always go and record the macro. You can say record macro. Macro is going to record, and just select this cell and give it a this red color and stop the macro. Right, you stop the macro and you go to the Visual Basic, and then you would get to see the color of the code, which is 255. So you can do that as well. It's all up to you how you want to do that, right? Well, I'm going to use this particular the filter one. Actually, I'm going to use the filter one. You can use this as well. So wherever it finds this the code, the color of the cell is 255, it's just going to copy that row, and it's gonna copy that, and it's gonna paste it here. That is also the option, but we can do it with the filter as well. Now to do with the filter, you don't have to remember the code. What you will do is you will first just record the macro again. Let's record the macro. I'm gonna put the macro on this recording mode, and first of all you go in this sheet, any sheet would do, and put the filter here. So I'm gonna use the filter. You can go in the home tab, and you can, sorry, in the data tab, I think the filter option is there. Yeah, okay, filter, or maybe you can use Alt D FF or Control Shift L. So I just use the filter, and then I'm going to click on this comment section and text filter by the filter by color, which is this. And once it is done, then what we would like to do, we would like to simply go here in this A2, and I'm going to use Control Shift End. So the moment I use the Control Shift End, it's going to take me to the last cell, wherever you have a value. Doesn't matter, even if you have a formatting. I copy this and I come back here, and now here in this cell, in the A21, I'm going to paste that value. I just use this value. Okay, this is how it is. Simple, right? And then of course, I mean, you can use the formatting as well. That's all up to you if you want to use the formatting, but I know these are all the red ones, so there's no need to use the formatting, but still, if you want to use it, you can use it, right? This is how it is. We are going to make this program, and then we will talk about this as well, how to get rid of these extra cells which they actually have used while doing all this. So let's go and use this. So first of all, I'm just going to delete this, and I just delete this as well. By the way, let me stop the macro now, because unnecessarily a lot of steps are going to be recorded. So I go in this and I just make it, guys, no fill color, right? So what is the first thing I want to do? Let me just take this macro somewhere here, maybe here. Okay, the first thing is obviously I know my headers, so I'm going to keep my headers here. So I just go and first of all, let's ensure that you can keep your headers over here. So I just use the base special. Okay, maybe here on the top, right? So once you're done with that, now let's go ahead and run the code. So I remove the filter here, and let's go to the developer tab, and let's have a look how actually the code is generated. So I go in this, and you can see here that this is a long code, well, little complex, but that's fine. So I'll explain you. So row 2 to 2 select means that it's going to select the row 2, and in the row 2 it's going to put the filter selection.auto filter, and then if you look at this A2 to I12, it's putting the filter on the field 8. 8 means that if you start counting from here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? So if you want to put the filter on any of the other headers, then you just first note down the field, the ranking, and then put that here. So you can change this to 8 to maybe 4 or 2, whatever, right? and then the criteria, guys. So now look at the criteria here. So now this is the RGB, this is basically the format of the color which it is going to do. So this is 25500. It is selecting, just keep this because this is the color it actually has used here, right? So what is the next thing I want to do here? So in the next thing, I think I simply go to the A2, and from there this is the Control Shift End. When you press Control Shift N, what happens when you press Control Shift N? So if I just select this cell and I press Control Shift N, this is how your entire data gets selected. So it goes to the last field value. If I write here something 0, and I'm just going to use this Control Shift End, look at this, what will happen? It's gonna pick up this, it's gonna capture this row. If I delete this and I come back here, I press Control Shift End again, look at this, what will happen, guys? Something very interesting. Sorry, let me go to the A1 and now press Control Shift End. Again your data will be selected like this, guys, right? Because this is going to be absorbed in the memory, so Excel will always remember that there is something over here, right? If I just save the file and then rerun it, so let me just save the file. By the way, I haven't even saved the file, so let's go to the Visual Basic, save as, and let me ensure that this should be actually the my macro enabled file. So I go to the desktop and I'm gonna browse it. So let me rename this as macro enabled, and that's it. So I name this as book 1. Now if I go back to the A1 and I say that Control Shift End task, look at this, it's going to pick up the same, right? So after saving, it works. You can also use this Control Shift right arrow and down arrow. That's also good option. I think that is something also you can do it, right? It's all up to you, right? Or maybe we can use the Control Shift down arrow. I think that's a good option, right? So this is done, and finally we are going to copy the data, and after we copy the data, we are going to come back to the main sheet, and in the A2 cell we're going to actually paste the data, but the next time it should be A3 and then A4, because every time you go in the different sheet you will have to go one by one row down. So instead of using the A2, what we are going to do here is we are going to run the loop, which should give us the last field value. So I'm going to use this A1000 dot. You can use this as maybe 1 million as well, or whatever you want to use, because if you are using 70-80 sheets, I don't think so 1000 is a good option. But since I have only 3 sheets, I know in 8000 my data will never be going to reach, so I just use the Excel up, and I'm just going to use the offset, and it should give me the 1 row down. So guys, this the code which I have written here, you can also record this. This is simply Control up arrow from the A100. So when you go to the A100, let's say this is my A100, I use the Control up arrow, this takes me to the last value, and then I move one cell down. So that's what actually offset function does. If you don't know anything about the offset function in VBA, please go and watch Excel VBA introduction series. If you don't know anything about the offset, not even in Excel, because knowing offset in Excel always helps in building the codes in VBA quite easily. So you can also go and check out my playlist in the Excel offset functions. The one I think I showed, I must have shared here with you. Yeah, this is the one. You can watch this. The first 2 videos you can watch when you click on this playlist, right? It's gonna give you very good understanding. Okay, let's come back to the topic now. So this is what I have done, and afterwards obviously I will use the paste special, paste value, and all that stuff. I can remove all these junk stuff, because these are all the paste special properties. So you can just keep it simple, paste value, and in the next line you can simply keep it the paste format. So I just go and remove this. Okay, that's done. Now format you require if you just want to use the same color. Okay, if you don't want to use that, maybe you can avoid it. For example, I'm not going to use it, so I just don't use it, right? Then the column B, entire auto fit, well, this is also okay. I'm okay with that, and I think then you don't need anything. Once you have the data pasted here, then you would like to go back to the original sheet. Okay, now guys, this is the code which is generated, and we are good to go with this. Now what is the next thing I want to do? Let's run the loop here, because I want to actually run this loop in every sheet. So the same loop which we have made previously, dim ws as worksheet. Ws is nothing, it's actually my worksheet object which I have created. You can also name anything whatever you want, right? But this should be the same class, worksheet. So I'm going to say that for each ws in worksheets. Okay, so let's go one by one in every sheet. Next ws, this is how it is. This is how the code looks like, guys. Okay, and this is let me give some indenting here. Oh, sorry about that. This is fine, and I just go and select the entire stuff. There we go. Okay, and I can get rid of this. Let me just delete that if I don't need it. That's okay. Okay, so now we're going to run this, and I guess yeah, we are fine with that. So I'm going to start that. So before we write, I must select the sheet, so that, because if you're not going to select the sheet where you're going to have the filter, right? So this is how it looks like. I think the code should work. Well, let's see that. And again, one more thing, if the sheet is actually main sheet, because for each worksheet will also loop through the main sheet, because it is a part of this, you know, worksheets family. So you just write here that if the worksheet name is not equals to main. Now guys, remember, if is a case sensitive, so please give the correct, you know, the case. If it is a, if it's in capital, make sure it should be in capital. Otherwise, if you write this in the small, it is not going to capture, and then your code will not work. Okay, else and if. So I just write here else and if. Okay, right. So I think this is your next, and let me just put some indenting here. This is how it should look like. So in the for, and then yeah, that's how. Okay, so now let's go and run the code. Okay, so variable not defined. Alright, so which variable I have not defined? I'm sorry, it should be worksheets actually, not the worksheet, because worksheets is a plural. You should always write the collection word here, the plural. So let's start variable not defined. Okay, so one more error. Alright, so Excel, actually it is Excel up. Okay, perfect. Let's go and run the code now. Okay, I'm gonna run the code. There we go. Press F8. Alright, what is the first sheet name? Well, that the first sheet name is main, so it is going to be avoided. Else and if. Next. Now the next name is Ajay. Alright, perfect. So we go in the Ajay, and then you can, you know, it's going to select that sheet, it's going to select the row entire two, and gonna put the filter here, you can see that, and then it's gonna select the absent. Right now what you're going to do, I'm on the A2, I'm back on the A2, and this is a control shift N task. It's gonna copy the entire data, and we are going to come back on the main sheet. When we are going to come back on the main sheet using this line, you know, if let's say my cursor is here, I'll tell you this line, make sure that it should be on the A2. So there we go, and finally the data is going to be pasted, right? Okay, so to do this, all merged cells need to be of the same size. So guys, there is one more problem here. You know what happened? Let me click this end. I just realized this after looking at the error. Basically here some cells are merged, so you need to take care of this thing as well, because merging is not gonna happen, because this is a merge, then this also needs to be merged. Or you do one thing, you merge these cells, you know, also. I mean, that is also something you can do it. So first of all, let me just correct this. There has to be no merging here. And now the next thing which I would do is, let me just remove the filter from here. So these are all the cells, you know, which are merged. So what we can do is, I can select them, or maybe you just go and, you know, merge them here. That's all up to you. So I just go and I'm gonna merge in center, click back here again. Now this is perfect. Now this looks much better, and by the way, this red should also be removed from here. So I just go and make this no fill. Okay, what else? Do you see any other cell merged? I don't think so. I go here again, and in the comment section also you can just go and merge them. Okay, you can also do this in one simple step. I'll tell you how. You select all the sheets, click on the match, press shift key, and click on the last sheet. All the sheets are selected, and now just I, you know, take to the last cell, because I don't know, maybe some other sheet has some different data, maybe they have more data than the other sheet. So I just take my buffer, best estimation, and I select this entire and merge in center. Okay, this is done. And then of course this cell I can simply go and click no fill. Okay, now if you go back to the match sheet, you see that it's done. Jarvis, it's done. Anu, it's done. So no need to go in every sheet again. This is again a good tip, you know, how you can use the shift key and select all the sheets. Now once this is done, let's go back to the code, guys, and let's try to run this again. So there we go. So first sheet is main, it's not gonna capture. I go in the next sheet, which is, I put the filter here, it's gonna select the data. You can see here the data is actually selected. Very nice. I go back in the A2, and from the A2, because that's my header, I'm gonna select this control shift end. I come back to the main sheet, and in the main sheet I go in the A2 and the value is pasted. Perfect. Now when the value is pasted, maybe you can do one thing. You know, you can actually go ahead and create the name here of that person as well. I think that would also be good thing. And one more thing, the data is also selected here, the header. We don't need the header again and again, right? You can keep the data here, maybe later you can remove it, but I think what you can do is you can also write in the code that active cell dot select, and then entire delete the entire row. So what you can do is you can write here active cell dot select, for example. Now once you're going to select that active cell, what happens, because filter starts from 2, automatically it is going to select this row, and then you can select this entire row and you can delete that. I don't know, I don't remember the code of that, so let me just quickly go and record the macro, and there we go. And I just go and select the cell and I click here, and I'm going to use the delete key. Okay, delete key, there we go, that it is deleted. Let's stop the recording. Okay, and one more thing, that when you're going to delete anything, this button will going to lose the initial size, so better you keep it on the top over here, so that this first row, because first row is never going to be deleted, right? So now let's go to the Visual Basic. I want to see that what is the code. So this is my code. I'm just going to use cut it. I'm gonna paste it here. Now this row 2 we have to automate it, because I don't know what row I am going to select every time, because every time you have a data in the different cell when you're going to work in the different sheets. So this row 2 by 2 select, what we can do is, instead of this, we can write here active cell dot row, and then we can join it with this colon sign, and then we can join it with this active cell dot row. Okay, and that's it. So we're going to make it dynamic. So active cell obviously will be that cell which you want to delete, right? So that is going to be deleted. Once it is going to be deleted, maybe you can go here and you can write the the name of that person. I mean, that is also something you can do. So what I'm going to do is maybe from this active cell, so once I have that, again I will select the active cell, let's say active cell dot select, and from that active cell what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to use this code, which is range, and then from the active cell dot end excel to right, and then dot select. Okay, offset and 0, 1. This is going to take me to the new cell. Select that. Okay, and then that cell should have a value, or which value you want that, then you want the value of the sheet. So when you select that active cell, the value in that active cell should be of your value, the sheet, whatever the sheet that time is selected. So we can write there sheet ws.name, because that's what the sheet would be selected at that point in time. Let's give it a try, right? I'm not sure, so let's just go and delete everything from here. Okay, so there we go. This is your main header, and now I'm going to run this code, guys, once again. So let's go and run the code. There we go. So first sheet obviously is main, so it goes in the else mode. Now we are back. Now it should go in the Ajay, and in the Ajay it's going to select the second sheet. So I should have actually removed the filters from here. Just a second. Yeah, there we go. So now this is going to select the second sheet. I put the filter, and you have the data. It selects the data, perfect. It goes back to the main sheet, and it's gonna pick up this, select this A2 cell, and now we're going to paste this data. So the data is pasted. Now active cell dot select, this will select my first data, the first cell of this the range which I've copied, right? This is a very nice trick. And now you're going to select that. Now select the entire row. So that what is the active cell row? It's 2. So 2:2. It should select the entire row. Very nice. And it's gonna delete that row. Wow, amazing. Now again it selects the active cell. From the active cell, now it goes to the this offset 01. So ideally what I was thinking, that it should go here in this cell, because of this blank cell, it's it's not gonna work. Or maybe right now I think I have some problem here in the code, but anyways, let's get rid of that code, because that's not gonna work. So what you will do is, instead of this, I have a better idea. We know that the column has to be I, so just use this I and then active cell row. I should have thought of this earlier. Select that, right? Or maybe you can simply say that value, you don't have to write anything, equals to ws.name. Now what will happen when you're going to run this I, it will remain there as I, and the active cell row obviously is going to be 2. So in the I2 I should have my name called Ajay. That's how it is. So you got the name of Ajay. Very nice. And you don't need this line, so I just go and delete that. Alright, so this is looking pretty cool, guys. Now let's go to the end if. Now what is the next sheet? So next sheet name is actually Abdul. So let us go and select that sheet. There we go. Abdul is selected. I'm again going to put the filter here in the row, and this is going to pick up this data, and let's copy the data. This time this has selected the perfect the perfect range. I go back to the come back to the main sheet, and then from here A1000 again it's going to use the control up arrow and offset. So this will ensure that I should be on the A3, and as you see that it is on the A3. Let's paste the data, guys. There we go. Wow, amazing. Now active cell is selected, and the entire row is going to be selected because of this active cell dot row, which is now showing 3. So row 3:3, it's going to select that. Let's delete that. Wow, amazing. Now active select that active cell and go to it again, same column but the different row number, which is 3, and print the name of that person, right? That's okay. We don't need that, right? I can tell you for that. Well, you can also write this in the code, that's okay, but let's not do that. We can do it manually also. So I go to the end if, and now I go to the next sheet, which is math. So let me just run this quickly, guys. There we go. The data is copied. I come here and I delete this, and you got the math here. Wow. And then the next line, and then Jarvis, it's gonna pick up the Jarvis, it's gonna put the data in the Jarvis, and the last sheet, which is my Anu, and for the Anu also we have got the data here. There we go. Perfect. Done, guys. We are done. Wow, this is cool, right? I can pause the video and you can see here, this is the code basically we have written here. Very simple code, very powerful code, but indeed, right? So that's how it is done. And of course, if you're looking for the another code where we talked about that, the renaming, so this is the code for you, right? This is the one. You can see that. Now when you arrived on this, so obviously you can select the dates, and you can quickly go and you can use this date format here. You could have used this in the VBA also, in the format, if you remember that Excel values, and then after Excel format, which I deleted it. So that's okay. I mean, you can keep this as well. This is a one-time only thing, and then in and out time as well. Now this in and time, because these are the date and the numbers, that's why it is stored. It looks like a a big number. So 42871 refers to the date, and 0.31 refers to the time. Well, I will not explain you how the dates and the times are stored here. You can go and watch the playlist Excel date and time if you want to understand how Excel works with the date and the time. So basically this the decimal part is 0.31 is the time, and the rest part is the date. So you can simply select this part, and you can go to the format cell. So just go and right click on the format cell, or control 1 is the shortcut key, and then there you can choose that the format of the date and the time. So what you need the date and time. Then you can just write here DDMM, or maybe like MMDD, and then YYY, and then you can also use the HH and the MM part. That's how you can use this. You're gonna have the dates back, right? This is a simple step, right? You can record the macro as well for that, not a problem at all. The only thing which I'm wanted to tell you is that now you have here Abdul, and ideally you should have here Abdul, and the mat should be mat here, and Java should be here, and then Anu. So what you can do is it's very simple. You select your data like this, guys. Okay, you select the data here and press Ctrl G. Okay, or maybe you can go in your home tab and you can just click here, go to. I'm talking about the go to special, go to special, whatever you want to do, or Control G. Okay, G as in God. Okay, so now when you click here, what do you need to do? You need to click on the blanks. You click on the blanks and press OK. This is how the blanks will be selected. Now don't click anywhere. Don't click anywhere, guys. Okay, keep like this. Press equals to. I press the equals to in front of you. I haven't touched any other cell. I select this cell. That's it. And now press Control Enter. Don't press enter, press Control Enter. Okay, the moment you press Control Enter, you get to see all the numbers automatically going to form. Beautiful summary report as well. Obviously, I mean, you can record the macros, and you can in the macro you can create all the sort of those grid lines. For example, you can go to the more border, you can give it a kind of a different style. For example, this is a style which you can use, and you can use the outers thick like in this way. That's all up to you guys what you want to do. And this is how it would look like. Then you can put it in the center. Of course, you can choose some different font. Maybe you can use this sort of font, or this font. I don't know, that's all up to you. And you can obviously choose this as maybe Arial black. and you can put them in the center. So if you want to do it manually, fine. If you want to record that in the macro, that is also okay. Or if you want to just keep this formatting by default, that is also okay. But I think when you're going to paste the value here, this formatting will lose. So I recommend you should do it in the macro itself. Just record these steps and put that in the end of the macro. And of course we can go and remove the grid lines from here. And of course I can go and give it a color, maybe a dark color, sort of. Let's say this is the one, and I can choose maybe this one. Okay, and of course you can also write here the agent name or whatever it is, right? So you can write here agent name, and this is how, guys, you can make this report, right? So I hope you enjoyed this session. It was a very practical kind of a scenario where we worked, and thank you so much for giving this question to me. I really appreciate Elane, and let me know if you have any concerns, or anybody who is watching this video, if they have any problem in that, please let me know about it, right? So guys, thank you so much.